Shotgun with Charlie.
Riding shotgun refers to the practice of sitting next to the driver in a moving vehicle. The term riding shotgun came around after the time of the Stagecoach, when somebody used to sit next to the driver holding a shotgun, in case they ran into bandits. My name is Charlie Cook, and I drive a lot. I like to talk to people while I'm driving, so I interview people in my car while I'm driving. Welcome to Riding Shotgun with Charlie. All right, before we start this episode of Riding Shotgun with Charlie, I do want to say that I appreciate and I want to say thank you for watching the show on YouTube and on Gunstreamer and on Full 30 and on the OpsLens app. If you have not subscribed to the YouTube channel, please do so, because it's all good for YouTube stuff on there. So I know we've got a lot of people that are a lot of new people that are watching the show, and if you could subscribe, I would greatly appreciate that. If you would like to help support the show, you can buy some patches and stickers, some Gungram stickers as well as Riding Shotgun stickers. You can buy some t-shirts, you can buy mugs at the Riding Shotgun with Charlie shop on the ridingshotgunwithcharlie.com website. So please check that out. All right, welcome to this episode of Riding Shotgun with Charlie. Today we are in Dallas, Texas. I love being in Texas.
Oh, this is my second time.
This is your second time?
Second time, yep.
This happened a bunch of years ago. I had to come to Texas for an identity theft case. Someone stole my identity, and I was at a point in my life where I'm like, you can be me. I'm totally cool with that. And I was on the stand. This is a completely true story. I was on the stand testifying against somebody that stole my identity and racked up like $50,000 of credit card debt.
Oh my goodness.
And they said to me, what do you think? They asked me these questions before. I didn't know that they were going to be coming when I was on the stand, but the question was, I told them I was a gun instructor, and they said, what do you think about the gun laws we have in Texas? And I said, I could smell the freedom when I walked off the airplane.
That's right. It is.
It is. All right, so here we are. We're in Dallas, Texas. We have Amy Lucas from Steel and Stilettos, or Stilettos and Steel?
Steel and Stilettos firearm training.
There we go.
Yes.
And we are going to talk with her for a little bit, because she's done some really cool stuff and got a really kick-ass job.
I think so. I'm trying.
I know, right? All right, let's go.
All right.
All right. So tell us about ya. How did you get into gun stuff? Because it's not often. I mean, there are more women that are getting into firearms, but you've been doing this for a while.
Yeah, I started actually my career with the Michigan Department of Corrections when I was really young. Like I was 19 years old. Couldn't even carry a gun yet. I started my career young, yeah, and I got very heavily involved in the training. You know, we did a lot of, firearms training, obviously, and, CPR, AED, everything that an officer would need to be trained on. I eventually became a trainer for the state. That way I could train other officers.
Gotcha.
So that was kind of my getaway from the prison, like getting away from, I worked in a maximum security prison. So my career was 20 years. And during that time, like I said, I was a trainer, and then I became a team leader on our SWAT team. It was called the Emergency Response Team for the state of Michigan. And so what we would do is we would get activated for escapes, or maybe we need to, one time there was a gun in the prison that we had to lock it down and shake it down and try to find the contraband. And, so I've done a lot of things like that. And I also worked at the State Police Academy teaching all the new recruits when they came in. So that was a 6-week training, and I would just stay up there, and I had my own platoon. So that's really where a lot of my training started.
So how did you get, did you grow up hunting or shooting? Was it some point where you're like, hey, this is what I want to do for a career, and this is going to lead me towards being a gun gal?
Right. Well, I always wanted to be a police officer.
Okay.
And so as soon as I graduated from high school, the city that I'm from, Adrian, Michigan, they actually put me through a police academy. And so I was going to be a police officer for the city of Adrian, but at the same time, the Department of Corrections was hiring. So I figured I would rather have a state job, looking at the money and the benefits and the overall, and I decided to go with the Michigan Department of Corrections. And thank God I did. It's given me all the training that I've had over the years.
Yeah.
And after I retired, I became a private investigator. And so I was a PI for about 8 years. And I'm driving around following people and filming them for these insurance companies and things. And I felt like
filming them
yeah, I know. You should get a job.
Right.
Yeah.
What are the hours?
Right. So I sit in my car one day and I said, you have too many skills. You have too much knowledge to be sitting around, following people. You should, take your education, your training, and give it to the public. Because at that time, it was a little bit right before the pandemic, and but things were kind of getting out of control, and people were really wanting to just get their hands on guns.
Mm-hmm.
And I felt like, I really wanted to educate people.
Yeah.
And train them to be legal and safe. And so that was kind of my mission.
That's cool. So how long have you been instructing?
Well, I joined the USCCA and I became a certified instructor January of last year.
Wow, so
yes,
this is all really pretty new.
It actually is very new. But you know what? The USCCA has been so good to me because, they have a great platform that I can put my classes on and stuff like that. So I've stayed very, very busy.
That's cool.
Yeah, and then within probably about 10 months, they reached out to me to apply to become a training counselor.
Wow.
And so now I'm a training counselor. I've been a training counselor since October of last year.
Oh my gosh.
And then while I was there, I became a defensive shooting fundamentals instructor, Rob Pincus's class, or instructor class. Yeah, so I've been doing that. And this October, or in a couple weeks actually, I'm going to be shadowing to become a senior training counselor, which is the top level. So it's really kind of, it's awesome. Kind of been, kind of a quick ride with them. Yeah. But I tell you what, I'm very, very happy. It's like family.
I will say this. I don't know. I mean, you said you're pretty new to this sort of stuff. I've been doing shows for about 5 years, and getting together and hanging out with your gun friends, it really is. It really is a family reunion.
It is.
And I absolutely love it. Since the pandemic's been going on, this is really bad. Since the pandemic's been going on, I've only filmed shows in 18 states. Oh. So when everyone's like, "Oh, we gotta go to house arrest and lockdown, and you're not supposed to travel," I'm like, yeah, I don't know about that. That's not gonna work for me. Right. So I've done shows in 18 states, and you're here. We're in Dallas. You're here for the USCCA Expo. Yes. And I'm here for AMMcon, and it's Old Home Week. Yeah. I love it. I love it too, and really just getting to meet all those people that you see in the videos, and they're now your friends, and people that you can look up to, but also collaborate with, and stuff like that. So it's been really, really good. I'm really excited about my future and what else that holds. That's great. Yeah. So you're in Michigan. What does someone have to do to get a permit in Michigan? The reason I ask is in Massachusetts, where I'm from, there are a list of certain classes that you can take. Mm-hmm. If you take these from a certified instructor, right, and you get the certificate issued by the state police, then you can apply for your permit. And I don't believe any of the USCCA classes are listed there, and I'm not 100% sure why, but as a guy that's an instructor, I would love to be able to offer these to people, and it would be great if more people do it, but I don't know if it's a good investment. I see. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Okay, if I'm going to spend this much money teaching a class, what's my ROI? Exactly. No, I get it. So to get a permit in Michigan?
For Michigan, you have to take an 8-hour class, so 5 hours in the classroom, and we talk about everything from use of force, how much force you can use, or the self-defense laws, non-lethal options. We talk about, gear and gadgets, or your, different holsters and things that could work for you, or different guns that might be good for you. And obviously the shooting, how to shoot. Right.
Right.
and the fundamentals that go along with it. So it is a 5-hour class, and then after that we will go to the range, and it's only, for Michigan, the requirement is 30 rounds.
Okay.
So it's an 8-hour class with 30 rounds shot.
That's cool.
Yeah.
We have a politician in Massachusetts that, first of all, in Massachusetts, you do not have to do live fire as part of a class to get your gun permit.
Crazy.
It is crazy, and I love telling my gun friends from around the country that, they'll sit here and say, "Oh, Massachusetts anti-gun state." I'm like, I know you can do 4 hours non-live firing, and it's good to get your license. And I'm like that. They're like, "That's crazy." I'm like, I know. Let's not let people know.
Yeah.
So I always feel weird talking about this in the show because eventually I think the Attorney General's going to watch. Right.
I just find it to be crazy because it's really it could be a disaster, right?
It absolutely could. It absolutely could. But we have a politician that wants to, and he's not a gun guy, he's an anti-gun guy.
Okay.
And he wants to have 5 hours of live fire with 50 rounds. And I always tell people, 5 hours, 50 rounds.
Wow.
What do you do for the next 4 hours and 45 minutes? Do you
exactly.
Do you watch Titanic?
Right.
Right. Read War and Peace?
Right.
Like, what do you do?
Right. So, in Michigan, there is the 3-hour range requirement.
Yeah.
But the requirement is 30 rounds. So
is there a certain target that you have to use with a certain score, or is it just
it doesn't
to
have
show
to be
some
scored.
sort of proficiency?
We just have to show safe. Now, other instructors might have their own scoring style. I just make sure that they're safe and it's on the silhouette. And I'll work with that person until they do get better. And then obviously I'll want them to follow up with more training, more practice, stuff like that. But the 3 hours for the range is pretty difficult, and I think it would be any state pretty difficult to, unless you have your own range, to go onto a range and say, hey, I need your range for 3 hours. It just becomes very expensive.
Oh, absolutely.
And it becomes, they're going to pick another instructor that isn't going to maybe have those 3 hours. So what I do is I include a lot of dry fire in the classroom. I get, I'm a big fan of CERT. The CERT pistols, yeah. So I'm a huge fan of that, and so what we do is we practice all the fundamentals in class. That way, leading up to going to the range, they kind of know what to expect. We'll actually go through the course of fire, and they can see, what it's going to be like. Obviously it's a little bit different when you're shooting real guns, but I get them prepared. That way, they've already somewhat have built that muscle memory by holding the gun and the shooting platform, all that stuff. And that way when we get to the range, they're good to go.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That is way cool.
Yeah, and the people that attend my class that have no experience whatsoever are the best shooters. Have you ever experienced that?
Because they have no...
bad habits.
They have no bad habits. I found that women shoot better than men do.
Yep.
Because guys will watch John Wick and think it's a training DVD and think, of course I could do this. And then,
yeah, exactly.
Not the case. Women like to follow directions.
Yeah, and probably I have steel and stilettos, so probably 95% of my classes are females. I welcome men in my classroom. I actually love to have some men in my classroom as well. But 95% of the people that I teach are women. And when I was in corrections, I worked at a maximum security prison for women. So there was a lot of women officers. There was more women than men. So I got to deal with different issues that women might have.
Right.
The fear, or maybe small hands, or just different issues that women might have, and being able to really help women. So it's been really good.
That's cool. Have you noticed some sort of an uptick over the last year and a half with more women taking classes?
Yeah, absolutely. I've noticed people that I know that have never been interested, all of a sudden are very interested, just because of the way the world's going. They just want to feel safe. There's a lot of divorces where there's a lot of women that are single now, taking care of their kids, and that's really the people that I really want to reach, to make sure that they can defend themselves and their loved ones.
Yeah, to me, that's what it's all about.
Absolutely.
You've got to be around to raise your kids and protect your family.
Absolutely.
And to me, it was one of these things that it's a form of expression, just to carry a gun for your family and be like, all right, listen, this is in order to protect you, this is what I'm willing to do.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is pretty cool.
Yeah, and I teach, I'm trying to reach a lot of different markets too. I'm not just honing in on women. I want to teach everybody. I want to teach real estate. I'm huge into the real estate professionals. So actually, Stilettos firearm training is an accredited class that they can take where they get credit, continuing education credit to take my classes.
Really?
Yeah. So I do a safety and awareness program. The real estate program does not allow any type of gunfire or guns in their continuing education classes. So what I do is I do before that, I get them in the classroom and I talk about the safety and awareness and how to handle open houses and dealing with people one-on-one. And I really want to hit different markets. It's not just about always carrying the gun. It's about safety and awareness and how to handle different situations.
Right, because we all know that the only gunfight you win is the one you never get into.
Exactly.
And,
exactly.
The real estate market is really not the real estate market, but the real estate agents is really prime targets for that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I have some friends that do real estate. I'm like, so you go to a stranger's house, or you go to your client's house hoping some stranger comes in and puts down an offer, but you don't know who this person is.
Exactly.
And,
exactly.
You're taking them around someone else's house.
Exactly.
And they could be, a couple could come in and the guy's looking around the house while the woman's asking questions, and then the guy's stealing stuff. And
exactly. Yeah. So I've even got into with my classes. Not clearing a home. This isn't a tactical thing, right?
Right.
But how to, go into that home the first time without, even if you're just by yourself. In Detroit, we deal with a lot of HUD houses that real estate professionals go into, or different areas that they might not feel comfortable with. There's a lot of squatters in different situations. So I talk about how to actually clear the home before they, when they go in there, to make sure that it's safe for themselves.
Yeah.
And just some proactive steps that they can take in order to be more safe during a showing. So I'm really heavily involved in that, and also I teach teens and pre-college. I recently taught for the Rhonda Walker Foundation. That's a huge foundation out of Detroit, where it's teens and pre-college, and I go in there and I talk about safety and awareness, teach a little bit of self-defense, and arm them with a couple tools. We armed them. We gave them a flashlight, a 3,000 lumen flashlight. Things, just something simple that they could carry on them that could possibly help.
Right. I'm chuckling at the guy's truck.
It's so loud.
I'm sure we're picking this up.
Big balls.
College has become a big thing with me because my daughter is now a freshman in college.
Oh, cool.
And she moved to a big city. And legit, she's going to school in the South. And the first thing we did is when we got down to that city, we went to the Waffle House for breakfast, and then we went to the Nashville Armory to buy her some pepper spray.
Oh, good.
And I'm like, all right, sweetheart, I know you haven't taken a pepper spray class, but I hate to give away pepper spray stuff, but when you spray some pepper spray, you do it at the eye level, so that it runs down into their eyes.
Right.
That's really what you need to know, sweetheart. 3-hour class in a minute and a half.
Right.
So here's,
Yeah.
What do you really need to know about pepper spray?
Exactly.
Right across the top.
Exactly. But that's great.
Yeah, it is important to teach kids in college because, teenagers are all into their phone and keeping their head down, looking at that while they're walking.
Right.
And all that kind of stuff. So
that's great.
And if they're not home, they're away from home.
Yeah.
All that craziness.
Making sure they're good to go.
Yeah.
And safe.
Did you go to Rick Ector's event this year?
Yes. Yes, I did. This is my second year. I was actually the chief range safety officer, so I ran one of the bays at Top Gun Shooting Sports in Taylor, Michigan. And so the goal was to teach 4,000 women this year. Last year, I think we were just short of our goal. Last year our goal was 2,000, and Rick doubled. Yeah, it was 1938, and now this year he doubled the goal. And so we was really busy. And there was instructors that I got to meet from all over the United States that came to participate. just help out. So yeah, I was a part of that for a couple days, and I always love that, giving back.
Yeah, I was planning on going.
Yeah, what happened?
I had to take my daughter to college.
You get her some pepper spray.
I did. I was on the Polite Society podcast a couple weeks before. He was on the Polite Society podcast, and he was obviously talking about this and promoting it. And I told him that I wasn't able to make it because I had to take my daughter to college.
Oh, okay.
And he's like, "What?" He's like, when I went to college,
right.
I went to college, and I'm like, where's the girls? Let's party. And
exactly.
I'm like, Rick, this is why I'm sticking around for a couple days.
I know, right? I know, that's right. That's funny. But yeah, it was a really great event, and there was a great turnout. And every year it gets bigger and bigger, and so hopefully you'll be able to make it next year.
I hope so.
Yeah.
I know that from my college years, my mother drove me from the Midwest to Boston to drop me off for college. And I think by the time my third year rolled around, she dropped me off at a train station in Chicago. And she's like, all right, you take the train to Boston. We'll see you later. Goodbye. We're going shopping.
I know, right? That's funny. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah. USCCA classes, shooting.
Yep. So I teach, the CPO classes a lot. But I also teach a basic handgun fundamentals class. That's for somebody that just maybe has already taken the class and they just want a refresher. Or Michigan requires when you renew your CPL, you'll have to take a refresher course. So I do a 3-hour, every 5 years you have to take a refresher. So I do the basic handgun fundamentals class, and then I also do certified instructor courses.
All right, we're gonna bang.
I teach those about once a month. I try not to teach them too much. Our Detroit area is heavily saturated with a lot of instructors, so I try not to saturate too much. That's why I have a training tour. I try to go all around Michigan and not just hit Detroit. I want to hit all those places around Michigan, and spread some love.
That's cool. Do you know how many people go from I want to take a class to eventually becoming an instructor?
Well, there has been several people in my class that have seen what I do and say, oh,
this looks really cool.
This looks really cool. This is something that I could do.
Yeah.
And, there's a couple people that I've worked with to try to get them ready and prepared, and that way when they do take it, they are ready and prepared, so that's cool. I've been able to do that quite a bit. But most people that come to my class are, a lot of the people that I used to teach in corrections, or they were also firearms instructors in corrections, so they'll take my class, or just some random people that already have the experience or the knowledge from military or from whatever. Maybe they're just a gun lover and just all about it. So I get all walks of life, and I'm noticing quite a bit more females, and that's exciting for me to see other females as well that are gung-ho and excited about something like that. Yeah, that
is cool. That's great that you can be a role model of sorts and inspire other women to want to be the same.
Yeah. And in my classes, I'll bring a branding manager and my photographer, my videographer. I'll bring someone. I always bring someone to every single class, someone from the USCCA, to talk about what opportunities they have. Not only just becoming a member, but also becoming an official partner, which is a great opportunity for my certified instructors. And also I teach a concealed carry tactics class, which after they take their CPL class, they can take a class where we work on drawing from the holster and maybe some shooting from the hip or, pec. So I do all different types of classes. I'm trying to really broaden not broaden, but just have more availability of different classes.
Oh my gosh, absolutely.
Yeah, because I notice that a lot of people, it's just a one and done. They're going to take the class and then they're going to forget about it.
Right.
And, I'm really excited when I do see those people that really do want to be educated and do realize how serious it is and what a liability it is.
It's, I've taken a couple classes this year. I did a Mag 40 class in Sioux Falls, and when you sit down and listen to Masada Ayub talk about self-defense, at some point you're like, oh my God, we all have a little bit of bravado and say, we're going to, you know, we'll take someone out, we'll protect our family.
Yeah.
And then you're like, okay, you're going to get arrested. You're probably going to end up going to jail.
Exactly.
And it's going to cost you at least $50,000 in legal fees. You're like, oh. Yeah. And when you see new students and you're like, hey, listen, you know, yes, you should be able to protect yourself. You should have the right to, so on and so forth. You're still going to have to go to court. You're still going to have to defend yourself. It's still going to cost you a lot of money. Yeah. People are like, well, wait a second. Yeah.
It makes them think twice, and that's why I love it when they take my class, because I hammer that. I make sure I talk about that consistently throughout the course, making sure that, you know, if we just pay attention to our surroundings, if we avoid conflicts, then we might not even have to do anything at all. Right. I talk a lot about body language. You can tell what somebody's going to do before they even do it. So that's
something that obviously you had to learn as a corrections officer.
Absolutely, I used to teach it. Yeah.
Yeah, this is why the police officers are trained to watch people's hands.
Yeah, hands and feet. The feet will always show you where they're going. Yep. Yeah. Yeah. And in fact, I had a great friend of mine, Jeanette Gadati. She's a body language expert coming to my class. She took my class, and then she gave a little presentation about how to read, you know, somebody. And that was very, very interesting. I loved it.
Sure.
I loved it, yeah. And then I also just included a couple people on my staff. So I have 2 new instructors. I have Jamie Headley, who is going to be one of my firearms instructors, and then also I have Mallory Brake, who is a black belt in Krav Maga, and she's also an instructor, and she's the only female black belt Krav Maga self-defense instructor in Michigan.
That is cool.
So she's on my team, and so she'll be handling the self-defense portions. You know, I learned self-defense. I taught it for many years, but with law enforcement, you're teaching to restrain or contain, whereas it's different with civilians. So why go back and do all that when I've got somebody who's amazing that can just be on my team, right?
That's awesome.
And I'm learning more from her too. You know, I'm learning more things that I can help with my class too. So together we can just become better, you know, and offer incredible. More for our students.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is really cool.
Thanks.
That is really
I'm excited.
Cool.
Yeah, I'm really excited about all the different things that I have in my mind and my plans for the future. So it's gonna be exciting. 2021 was a really, really great year for me, and it is. It is a really good year.
It is really cool. I'm digging it.
Well, even with, you know, the pandemic and everything, I know that was pretty crappy. But I'm saying business-wise, it's been really good, and just collaborating with great folks. You know, I'm so glad to meet you and all the different people that are heavily involved in this industry.
What I like about my gig is I can find someone, or I can. To me, one of the things I wanted to do with having a show is I wanted to expand my circle of friends. Yeah. And I do believe, and I'll say this forever, Ken Blanchard says, anyone that gives you a gun is family, and anyone that wants to take a gun is your enemy.
Oh, right.
And gun folks are great folks. So once, like the reason that we're doing this is because I'm friends with Patrick Collins, and he's an instructor in Atlanta. Yeah. And we're rooming.
Yeah, that's your roommate.
We're sharing rooms. Yeah. There we go. We're sharing a room. And so he's like, hey, listen, Amy Lucas is going to be down there. You should have her on the show. I'm like, okay. Who is she? What do we do? And I'm like, oh, we're already Facebook friends. So I love being able to do this and make this happen. And it's, I know someone that would be really good on the show. And have you met this person? Have you had this person on?
Yeah, so I appreciate Patrick a lot for that. He's a good friend of mine, and he's a great speaker.
He is
just someone to really just not only just be friends with, but he's a great person to collaborate with.
He is. He's got a lot going on as well.
Yeah, he does.
He's got a day job, and he's teaching classes on the side, and he's trying to connect people all around the country. Yeah. So. Yeah.
That's cool. I have a day job too sometimes.
Yeah.
The good thing
Can you tell us about your day job?
Well, I'm a private contractor for the U.S. Marshals, so I do a lot of their transports or hospital duty. Yeah. You know, it's something that I used to do in corrections, but and I used to work alongside the U.S. Marshals. One of my positions with the Department of Corrections was I worked as an investigator on the absconder recovery unit. So anybody that was on parole and they were wanted for a new crime, or we need to get this person locked up right away, I was part of that team that went out searching for them. So we would collaborate with different fugitive apprehension teams and the U.S. Marshals and work with them together to find that person and lock them up. So yeah, after retiring, I was just like, wow, I need to get back into that, because I kind of missed that, you know.
Yeah.
So
That's a little exciting.
It is exciting, and I can just sign up when I want to work, and it works out really great for me. So
That's pretty cool.
that way, you know, on the weekends I'm teaching classes, and during the week I'm, you know, doing a little something else.
On my way down here, I sat next to a guy. I flew from Hartford to Baltimore, Washington, and the guy next to me was a complete savage. He gets on the plane, he doesn't have a cell phone, he doesn't have a book, didn't have any luggage, like he just sat on the plane. And I'm like, this guy's got nothing to do for the next hour and 20 minutes, whatever. Like, he's got nothing to do.
He must be an air marshal, huh?
That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah. Yeah, he's just busy observing.
Right. Well, I mean, he could observe me sleeping, but that's not that exciting. But I thought it was a little weird, like, he's just sitting there, he's got nothing to do. He doesn't... Oh, God, this sounds really judgy. He didn't look like an air marshal. He just looked like a look like a guy that works hard for a living. Yeah, is what it was. But I'm like, why does he not have a phone? Right. Why doesn't he have a book? Yeah. He didn't put any luggage above us.
No snacks or nothing.
Nothing.
No, come on.
Nothing.
He's an air marshal.
All right. Well, there we go. That's the tell.
That's
the guys the people are gonna on the plane with nothing to do.
Yeah. Maybe. We'll see.
Oh,
I don't know.
Oh my gosh.
Who knows? That's
funny.
pretty cool.
Yeah.
I thought about doing something like that. That would be pretty.
Yeah, I was like, all right,
cool.
if we bring up that she's an air marshal, is it going to blow her cover?
Oh, I know, right? No, I'm not an air marshal. That would be a sweet gig, but they don't get any flight benefits.
Oh.
I need flight benefits.
Yeah, that would really. I did interview a guy that was an air marshal. He was one of my really early interviews, and some of the training he said he had to go through was a little crazy.
Oh, really?
Like, he said you have to become such a good shot that you can shoot past someone's head.
Oh, wow.
Right. And I'm like, that seems a little dangerous and let's break all the rules. And he's like,
no, your target and beyond.
This is what we do. Like,
wow.
There's a silhouette target and someone behind it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and I should go back and watch the show.
Yeah.
But I think he said the way that you passed the test is you had to stand there and let someone shoot next to you.
No kidding.
And I'm like, that's crazy. And that breaks all of the gun safety rules.
Oh, but, wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
But, I don't know if I'm sure you've seen the videos of, like, the crazy Russian guys that are like, there's a guy he's got a line of 5 or 6 people and he's just walking right in front of them and turns around and walks back and nobody shoots him.
Oh,
we're like, that's all crazy. I'm like, isn't that what the air marshals do?
Yeah, exactly. There's actually an air marshal that I would love to do some training with. It ended up getting rescheduled and I wasn't able to make it, but there's a guy out of Michigan and he does amazing training. Like, I have a few friends that went and they were like, Amy, like, this is one of the best trainings that you're going to get, and it was very cheap. He doesn't charge much. It's just for the love of it. He's got a range in his backyard, and I'm really excited about training with him because my friend said the same thing. They do some crazy shit, So I'm kind of excited about connecting with him and doing some training.
That is way cool.
Yeah.
That is way cool. All right, you got any crazy stories with students? With locking people up?
Well, I do have a silly story. Like, we were...
love silly stories.
Yeah, well, not really silly. It's funny. We were looking for this guy. He was a sex offender, and I was in the U.S. Marshal vehicle. I was actually driving while the head of the U.S. Marshals was pinging the phone to find out the location of this guy. Mm-hmm. And so we're on this goose chase looking for this guy, and we finally catch up with him. So it's a high-speed chase. I'm driving, and next thing you know, he hits something, and he hits a tree. Ooh. And next thing you know, he's off running. Well, we get a perimeter. The marshal started running after him. We lost sight of him, so we secured the perimeter.
Yeah.
And so anyway, once I got parked and we started searching for this guy, mm-hmm. You wouldn't believe where we found him. We found him
under the van?
in a tree with a woman's wig on. He was hiding way up in a tree. We searched the house where we last thought he was, right?
Yeah.
And so we cleared the house, and then what we did was on this third floor of this house, we ended up looking out the window, and we seen him in the tree.
So is the wig gonna hide him, or is the tree gonna hide him?
I don't know. I know. Maybe he thought we wouldn't think it was him. I don't know.
Well, there's a dude with a woman's wig hiding in a tree, but that's not the guy we're looking for because he's got a wig on.
Exactly. Oh, but we got him. We got him, and
that is too funny.
Yeah, he was actually in town.
Continue on North Bellflower
He had one of his girlfriends drive him to the area, and he said, "Oh, I'm mentoring these young boys." And so she gave him a ride, and she's hanging out with him for the weekend. You know, she's in love with this guy, and he's got her car mentoring these young boys, and really he's molesting them.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
That's nuts.
Yeah, and what's crazy is she didn't want to give up his info. She didn't, she was on his side. I just can never understand that, but it is what it is, right?
Right.
Yeah.
That's nuts.
Yeah. And there is a lot of, working in a maximum security prison, it really does a lot to you as far as trusting people or always making sure that, I could just give you an example. If a prisoner came up to me and said, hey, I need a roll of toilet paper.
Okay.
You would be thinking, do they really need toilet paper? Are they trying to distract me? Are they trying to get me into a closet? So everything that you do, you have to second guess. You have to be one step ahead. And I feel like just doing all the different things or seeing everything that I've seen over the years, it really does affect you. And I did 20 years and I felt like, oh, I'm good. I still want to be sweet at the end of the day. I still want to be trust people. And I felt like that position was obviously I'm thankful for it because of all the training, but it really just does change who you are as a person.
I'm sure it does.
Yeah.
I mean, you do have to,
Yeah. So I don't know. It's kind of affected me some ways, but I find it to be more positive than anything because I feel like all these thousands and thousands of dollars that they put into me to train me, I can now help out the public,
That's awesome.
And, just get in front of people. That's not always easy, right? Getting in front of people and talking. That really helped with that over the years, too.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right. Well, listen, we are almost back to where we need to be. How can people find you and Steel and Stilettos?
Yep. Steel and Stilettos.
How can they find you? All your stuff, all your social media.
Yeah. Just go in. You can go on my website, steelandstilettostraining.com. You can find me. My name is Amy Lucas on Facebook, or you can join my Facebook page, Steel and Stilettos Training.
Very cool.
Yeah, I appreciate it, Charlie.
I'm happy to have you.
Yeah, thank you.
This has been a lot of fun.
Appreciate it.
All right, we're coming to a stoplight, so we can do a quick wrap up.
Okay.
Awesome, awesome. All right, well, listen. I want to give you a riding shotgun and a gun gram sticker and a riding shotgun patch.
Thank
you for being on the show. I love that I can expand my circle of friends, and
Absolutely.
I'm glad to be able to include you in this.
I appreciate it.
I do want to thank Patrick Collins for setting us up.
Definitely, thank you, Patrick.
We'll put a link to Patrick in this, and we'll include the link to the show he's in. I also want to thank Cheryl Todd from Gun Freedom Radio for the use of her Stagecoach for this show. She's an awesome woman, very generous.
Yeah.
And she trusts me with her rental car.
Yeah, thank you.
She bought the insurance, and we're probably going to use it.
Let's hope not. We're almost there, man. We can do it.
I know we can do this, man. We can do it. The other stuff is you guys need to check out the Self-Defense Radio Network, SD. Oh, where's the turn? Is there a turn? Oh, yeah, there is right there.
Yep.
Let the good times roll, man. We're gonna shut this off. I can see where we're at.
Okay.
We're gonna wrap it up, Chuck. There we are. Let's just do it here. Highly trained professional. international. We'll just stop in the middle of the road.
That's fine.
Thank you, thank you guys for watching the show. Thank you so much for being on.
Thank you.
This is a pleasure. Thank you.
I appreciate you.
Check out the Self-Defense Radio Network, SDRN.us. You need to make sure that you are a member of the Second Amendment Foundation, SAF.org. And thank you guys for watching the show. Thank you to Cheryl Todd. Thank you to Patrick Collins. Thank you to Amy Lucas. Thanks for watching the show. Please make sure you subscribe, and we'll see you guys next time on Riding Shotgun.
Bye.